Good evening, Nigerians. My name is Mrs. Rose Idibia. This message is for Miss Natasha Osawaru of Edo State. I'm calling on all mothers in Nigeria to help me beg her to release or to free my son. My son is going through a divorce process and he's clearly not in his right senses. I know my son. This is not him. Please, Natasha, the bead you put on his hand and on his neck, remove them and free him.
Okay, folks, so today we are doing a deep dive that is, well, let's just say it's a little bit messy.
Yeah, this one is definitely giving us some major family drama vibes.
For sure. Like, we're talking celebrity gossip, but also some seriously interesting cultural stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not every day you see tradition and modern relationships collide quite like this.
Right. So we're talking about Baba, obviously, Innocent Idibia. Huge name in Nigerian music.
Right, one of the biggest.
And as everyone knows, he and Annie Idibia, they called it quits recently after over a decade together.
Yeah, their relationship has always been pretty high profile, so everyone was watching that unfold.
Totally. And you think, okay, well, that happens all the time.
Right.
Celebrity couples, they come and go.
You'd think so, but
No.
then he goes and gets engaged to someone new, like almost immediately.
Exactly. To Natasha Osawaru.
Yeah.
It's not just anyone. She's a prominent lawmaker from Edo State.
Yeah, that definitely added a whole other layer to the situation.
And then to Baba's mother, Rosie Idibia, she enters the picture.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Mama Rose.
Because she did not hold back, did she?
Not at all. She released this video message online, and it's basically a direct plea to Natasha asking her to free her son.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, you can hear the emotion in her voice. And what really stood out to me was this whole thing about beads.
Oh, yes, the bead.
Rose seems convinced that Natasha gave to Baba these special beads and that they're somehow controlling him. It sounds almost like something out of a Nollywood movie, like a love potion or a curse.
It's easy to see why people might jump to that conclusion, especially when you consider how much Nigerian culture is rooted in spirituality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to really understand where Rose is coming from, we have to look at the cultural context, right?
Absolutely. So Natasha, she's from Edo State, which is a place where Benin culture is very strong. And in Benin tradition, beads hold a lot of significance.
Okay, so tell me about these beads. What's the real deal with them?
Well, in Benin culture, beads are not usually seen as objects of manipulation or control. Instead, they're often symbols of royalty commitment, a way to connect with ancestors.
So like the opposite of what Rose is suggesting.
Pretty much. It seems like there might be a bit of a cultural misunderstanding happening here. You know, Rose might be interpreting the beads through her own lens, which is understandable, but doesn't necessarily reflect their true meaning.
That is super interesting.
Mm.
So we've got this whole mix of family drama, cultural beliefs, and a mother's love for her son, all playing out in a very, very public way.
And don't forget the added pressure of social media. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's watching.
Exactly. Imagine trying to navigate all of that. It's got to be tough.
It really highlights the unique challenges that public figures face, especially in a place like Nigeria, where family and tradition are so important.
For sure. This whole situation, it makes you think, right? Like, how often do we misunderstand things or people because we don't fully get the cultural context?
All the time, I'd say. It's so easy to make assumptions based on our own limited experiences.
Right. Like maybe something that seems weird or even offensive to us could have a totally different meaning to someone from another background.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be open-minded and willing to learn from each other.
This whole Tubaba situation, it's kind of a microcosm of that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like if something as seemingly simple as a strand of beads can lead to such different interpretations, imagine the complexities we face in other areas of life.
Absolutely. Think about the way we communicate our gestures, the food we eat, even how we express emotions. There's a whole world of meaning out there waiting to be understood if we're willing to look beyond our own bubbles.
That's a great point. Like sometimes the things that seem the most obvious or straightforward might actually have layers of meaning that we're completely missing.
Exactly. So next time you encounter something that seems strange or unfamiliar, maybe take a moment to pause and consider the cultural context. There might be a whole story there that you're not seeing.
Food for thought, for sure.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. But trust me, this conversation is far from over.
Definitely keep those minds open, folks. And remember, there's always more to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.